over. So they took the actual ads that were being run, they showed them to audiences, and they ran them through a number of different pre-testing methodologies. So they got lots of the pre-testing companies to all measure the same ads. So you said, okay, you know, how effective do you think this ad should be based on how the audiences responded to it? So they had the actual sales results, and they had a bunch of different pre-testing scores. And the idea was to see, does pre-testing actually correlate with actual business performance? So I think it took them about 15 years or something, a very long time, to finally get a decent sample together, because the circumstances were rare. They had to move very fast in order to find audiences that hadn't seen the ad and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, the overall conclusions, there were several papers published on this, and it was quite controversial. I mean, one reading of the findings is basically that pre-testing is about as good as tossing a coin at predicting sales effects. At least it was then. And that most of the sort of dimensions and scores that people looked at had very little predictive power. But one thing that did have some predictive power was liking. So in other words, if you want to know if an ad's going to sell anything, just find out whether people like the ad or not. So, and of course, there was a lot of political dancing around the results, because, of course, pre-testing companies did not want them to say that openly. So you have to read between the lines in the papers. But I think I actually went back to that research when we did our 2007 analysis. Thought, actually the answer was already there in the data. It's not about, so for brand advertising, at least, my overall conclusion is brand advertising is not a communications mechanism. It's a training mechanism. It's like Pavlovian conditioning. You're conditioning the public to like the brand by getting them to like the ad, broadly speaking. You ring the bell and the dog salivates. So I think that's quite a radical finding.
Totally.
And I think probably, Richard, you can see how that shades over into behavioral economics, because, I mean, if there's the overall big finding from behavioral economics is that people are much less rational than they like to pretend. They don't think as much as they think they think.